You can't solve a problem until you make it yours. Supremacy, the state or condition of being superior to all others in authority, power, or status. How does one go about solving this issue, you may ask? I think first we have to label this as an issue before we can continue to try and solve it. The first step to solving a problem is recognizing that there is one. The problem of supremacy is that not only does it lead to oppression and racial divide, it also creates scars and victims have a long memory. Some may say it's in our nature, almost like it's by our nature to hate. Here's a question then, do we just grow up to hate, or are you taught to hate? Is it instilled in one's mind to oppress, or is it just for extra security? You know, just to make sure that your spot is secure in the whole grand scheme of things. Now, before we go on, we can touch on a little history of just where supremacy came from. In the early days of the American colony, when lands belonging to the Powhatan and the Poco tribes of indigenous North America were first stolen and settled by evading British forces, the project of empire faced a major dilemma, however. It quickly became clear that labor was desperately in need if the colony was going to survive. The British did not have the skills or knowledge necessary to survive here in the ways that indigenous communities had for all of human history. Additionally, the British had designs on growing this empire outwards to dominate more lands and people. Many of the British colonizers died in those early years as winters blew in and settlers found themselves unprepared. In the winter of 1609 to 1610, known as the Starving Time as it came to be called, the colonists died in scores, reduced from a population of about 500 to just about 60. They took to digging up corpses, fruitlessly hunting for nuts and berries among the forest, and in many cases the colonists deserted and sought shelter with the Powhatan tribes. And the English elite, however, did not intend to work this stolen land themselves and needed a labor supply if their desire to expand the imperialist conquest of the lands and people of North America were to continue. They turned to English merchants who delivered poor English teenagers along with African people that had been kidnapped from their homelands and stolen away to the new colonies. In these days, there were few differences in the conditions of servants from Africa and England. They were all subject to the same horrors of forced labor. Workers were regularly whipped, nearly starved to death, denied days of rest, and were refused permission to marry. Now, you may ask, why was supremacy, or why is supremacy still a thing? What is the meaning of its existence? Is supremacy something that in its creation made a type of hierarchy within the racial system? Did it start out as something convenient, or was it originally meant for hatred? Even then, where does one go to learn to oppress? Or do people just wing it?
You know, deep down inside, I think you wish you were black.
Get the fuck out of here.
Laugh if you want to. You know, your hair is kinkier than mine. What does that mean?
Now, before I go on, I must raise the question to whether or not this is hatred, or is it just intentional bullying? Given whatever answer may be, what exactly gave them the drive to oppress? Just that they could? Or what gave them the right to shut down certain part of the history of the indigenous people that they came to take over? You may ask, how can someone live with themselves knowing this? I say it has a lot to do with the psyche and the feeling that one can get someone to do the hard work. Now, what exactly is the psychology behind assertive dominance, or in other words, a supremacist? It's almost like a consistent commitment. People who are consistent with things tend to stay committed to it and go through with what they've said they'll do. Another thing that coincides with this would be conformity, which is the compliance with standards. Human beings are likely to assume that if lots of other people are doing something, then it must be okay. They think everyone else is doing it, so I should too. People naturally seek safety in numbers. Having the authority can also play within this as well. Supremacy groups have a lot of rules and expectations that members are expected to follow and not question at all. Having a hierarchical system with different levels of power, this helps ensure that members go along with what's being asked of them. So from that explanation, you can see that a corrupt few in the beginning may have influenced the widespread of supremacy. Let me not forget the whole liking part of it though. We are more likely to be influenced by people when we like them. There's many reasons why we might find ourselves liking someone. They might be similar or familiar to us, they might pay us compliments, or we just may feel like we can trust them. Supremacy groups present themselves as places where a person can be a part of the family, part of a brotherhood with like-minded people almost. They make the person feel wanted and valued by paying them compliments, such as telling them they are a chosen person of God and part of an elite group. This results in the person having a strong feeling of like for the group. Once this is established, it is then easier for the group to be influencing the person to behave in certain ways and commit to certain things. Having said all of this, what exactly does it mean? Did people just plan all of this? Or was it over time they began to add these different ways of persuasion? There's this thing called cognitive dissonance, meaning the mental stress or discomfort experienced by an individual who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values at the same time. Or is it confronted by new information that conflicts with existing beliefs, ideas, or values? So to understand this, I think we'd have to understand a little bit of what it means exactly to be egocentric. Essentially, anyone who isn't from where you are is wrong. However, that doesn't really do supremacy very much justice, does it? It should make you wonder the truth behind all of what the supremacists don't want to tell you. Why are they oppressing others? What do we have that they don't? Raising these questions is your born right as a human being. The path to truth lies in the questions others don't want to ask. I personally think it is the conditioning that people have been through that makes it hard to ask these questions. I can't speak for those who have been oppressed because I cannot fathom the type of pain they've gone through. However, I can speak out on the basic principle of humanity. Hatred is trained, period. Let's just say victims have long memories, and those who create the victimization have quite short ones. Those of whom created such victimizations claim the debts are not theirs. However, they accept the glory of it wholeheartedly. While it may be uncomfortable for people to recognize their privileged position came from the systematic dehumanization and degradation of the oppressed men and women, redemption lies only in the willingness to atone for what has been done and to break up the twin mentalities of supremacy and inferiority. Folks without much will kill you for the little bit that they have. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video and you want me to make more videos like this, please let me know in the comments down below, and you can make sure to give this video a like. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.